This guitar is just horribly dirty. It hasn't been cleaned for several years. I can't even remember the last time I actually cleaned it. So it's just been collecting dirt and grime and everything, and it's simply just disgusting. Just look at all those dead skin marks on the fretboard, those rusty strings. There's dust everywhere. The fretboard is just so caked up with human DNA, and you can safely say it was about time I cleaned it. So I just thought I'd document the process, because who doesn't love to watch stuff get cleaned so you don't have to clean stuff yourself, I guess. So just look at those strings. It's just insane. And the worst thing is that I was actually noticing that on the recordings the tone was starting to get muffled, probably because of all the grime on the strings. And when I'm changing the strings, might just as well do a little bit of cleanup. But as you can see, this guitar is kind of relicked through a lot of use and abuse, and I didn't wanna ruin that either. So I want to clean it, but not make it look new, if you know what I mean. So we're just gonna start off by pissing some people off with just cutting the strings. I don't really usually do this. Just did it to make it look satisfying on video. Some people think that you can actually damage the guitar by doing that, and that's just complete BS. Your guitar can absolutely handle getting all the strings cut at once. And that piece of electrical tape, for those of you who don't know, that is just there to prevent the strings from ringing after you have muted the strings. You can actually hear them ringing on the recordings. So just pulling out the old strings, and just look at that. You can just see that the dark marks and all the dust and crap everywhere. That's just super disgusting. So out with the good old microfiber cloth and some just regular all-purpose cleaner bought in the retail store, actually. Probably also pissing some people off because I'm using this directly on this kind of bare wood finish, but I don't care. It gets cleaned, and just spray the cleaner everywhere and let it soak in and just wipe it off, and it works like a charm. You're not gonna break your guitar by doing this. Probably also not the best way of doing it, but it's my guitar. I don't care. I could also have gone in with a toothbrush and cleaned every nook and cranny on the bridge, but that's not my intention here, and I'm not doing anything about the corrosion either, because I still want it to look kind of weathered. Pulling off the volume knob and the tone knob, which isn't even connected to anything. And more cleaner. Now these things are kind of waterproof, so you don't have to worry about damaging your electronics by doing this. Just tightening that nut. I really should get a wrench out to do this, but didn't have a wrench handy right now. Those come loose all the time, and there's not much you can do about that, I think. And then there's just more cleaner. And while I'm cleaning, I might as well tell you kind of the story about this guitar. This guitar was actually the second electric guitar that I bought after I sold my Squier Stratocaster, which was my first electric guitar. And when I bought this guitar, it was my first guitar with a humbucker, and kind of realized why humbuckers are the big deal when it comes to metal playing. And this guitar cost me 3,000 Norwegian krones, which is roughly $280 US dollars. but this was probably 15 years ago. So it's one of those guitars that I have had the longest. I was actually stupid enough to sell it back in the days to a classmate who wanted to start playing guitar. End of that story was that he didn't really start playing guitar, and after a couple of years I reached out to him and asked him, hey, do you still have my guitar? And he did, so I bought it back for the same amount of money and couldn't be happier. I also did this binding thing. I just sanded the edges, which looked really nice on this mahogany body. The guitar is an Ibanez RG321MH for mahogany. And I've obviously swapped out the pickups with an EMG 81 in the bridge and I think it was called a Dragonfire 85, kind of a EMG 85 clone passive, I think, that I bought on eBay years ago and just put it in the neck position. And just cleaning up the neck as well, same microfiber cloth and the all-purpose cleaner. And anyways, this guitar has been with me for basically my whole playing career, and it's a great guitar for the money. You can still find these cheap, used, probably around a couple of $100. Absolutely worth every penny, and the stock pickups are also great. You don't really need to change those. I don't think this headstock has been cleaned like that for about 10 years or something. So it probably needed this cleaning. Just to stay sanitary, you know. This guitar kind of has sentimental value to me. It's one of those guitars that I will never sell again, because I kind of felt the way I regret it when I sold it the first time. So this one I'm taking it to the grave, or at least it's gonna be in the family. I've recorded basically almost all my songs that are in drop D are recorded on this guitar. It's pretty much stayed in drop D for the last 10 years, I think. Did try some other tunings on it, but it just went back to drop D. Did try to use it experimentally to put some insanely like 72 strings on it and try tuning it to drop G. But it just doesn't work out with a 25.5 inch scale length, and you run into intonation issues because you can't adjust the bridge long enough. And here I'm just wiping off some of the dead skin on the fretboard. Fretboard is what gets the most nasty always. And still just the all-purpose cleaner, because it's kind of it's a mild cleaner. And it gets the stuff off. Just that and a microfiber cloth. Could also go over the frets with some steel wool. Do that sometimes, but I don't bother on this guitar. Might do that on my next guitar that I'm cleaning. And if you like these kind of videos, just let me know and I'll make more as I clean my other guitars, because all my guitars are in pretty desperate need of cleaning and restringing. I'm just way too bad at changing strings. As you can see, it already looks a lot better. The wood is kind of starting to come to life. Obviously it's a little bit wet from all the cleaner, but it's doing wonders. If there's one thing I learned, it's that oiling the fretboard is a good idea, but this is actually my first time using lemon oil. I heard that you're not supposed to use this on maple fretboards, but this is rosewood. And I just remember from back in the days on the guitar forums, from Ultimate Guitar and 7-string forums, there was always all this bashing of the lemon oil, saying that the lemon oil was ruining the fretboard, and it worked just more like a cleaner than actually moisturizing the wood. So I used boar oil for a lot of years, but I can't find my boar oil bottles anymore. So I just thought I'd give lemon oil a try, and we'll see how it holds up in the long run. So I just kind of sprayed some oil on it and let it work for a couple of minutes, and then just basically wipe it off. And you can just see how the wood just comes alive, and it smells really good too. That's a bonus. And I just gotta say, it just impresses me how well this guitar has held up. 15 years of use. Doesn't look new anymore, but I way prefer this look of a kind of more used and relic guitar. It's been through stuff, and it's been with me over half my life, or just under half my life. Damn. And since it's kind of a bare wood finish, there's no clear coat on this, I just decided to spray some lemon oil on the body as well. Because if it kind of conditions and cleans the wood, why not do it on the body? Guess some people are screaming at the screen right now, but it worked, I think. Guitar hasn't broken, and I used to oil the sides where I've sanded down the finish. I used to oil that with some boar oil earlier, and that worked really nicely. And just rubbing it in and wiping off everything and putting some new strings on, and look at that. It's still scratched up, it's still of course a little bit dusty, and it's used, but man, does it look better. It looks so much better. And the wood has just sprung to life. And note to self, use manual focus next time making this kind of videos. The automatic focus racking wasn't really pleasant to watch. But man, the guitar just looks so much better. Just look at that rich, deep color of the rosewood. And the absence of so many dead skin cells. Yeah, it just looks amazing right now, and it feels so much better to play. And as you can see, the kind of mattness of the finish around these scratches wasn't possible to wash away. I guess it's just a finish that has been reacting with sweat and stuff, so that's just gonna have to stay that way. It's part of the guitar now, and I just love the look of that relict guitar. The pickups are nice and clean. Bridge is a lot better, still corroded as crap, but doesn't matter. And it's just a beautiful guitar, and now it's cleaned as well. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching this video. And if you want to see more of these kind of videos, just leave a comment and press like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I guess